everybody, it's Doug here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to our new campaign playthrough of Sleeping Gods by Red Raven Games and Ryan Lockett. It is a fantastic, I already know it's a fantastic game because I enjoyed the other games that Ryan has done. And based on what I've seen of this will be no exception. So this is a game that, I know on the box it says 2 to 4 players, but it can be played solo, and that's how we're going to be playing it today. And we're going to be starting with the introduction scenario, because if you're playing a campaign, that's where you start. So some of the components you see on the table right now may not be used in the first part of this playthrough, but I do plan to continue on through the campaign. This will be spoiler filled, so red alert, it's on screen for you just to remind you. This is going to be a spoiler filled campaign playthrough of Sleeping Gods. Now, the good news is that it is replayable, and there's all kinds of stuff. We will also be including, now you won't see it in the introductory scenario, but we will also be including the Tides of Ruin campaign and the dungeons in there. So this will be the whole gamut, giving you a great opportunity to see what is going to go on in Sleeping Gods. We'll see how far we get. You know, it's kind of like when I was playing, I played things in seasons, like I did a number of episodes of Etherfields, and when people started saying, yeah, we've seen enough of that, time to move on, I broke. I'll probably do another season of that again, just like I did with Tainted Grail and a few others. But right now, it's going to be Sleeping Gods. So let's dive right in. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the setup of the introduction. It's actually fairly simple. We're going to look at the characters that we're going to be playing. We're going to be playing the entire crew of the Manticore. And then we'll read the story introduction and get ourselves going. So let's dive right in and get on with the very first part of our playthrough for Sleeping Gods. Captain Sophia Odessa, April 27th, 1929. After 8 years of brooding silence, I received a telegram from my father. Taken ill. Come soon. I set out with the crew on the Manticore with a stoic resolve to make it to New York. We were 3 days out of Hong Kong when we got caught in the worst storm I'd ever seen. When the sky finally cleared, we found ourselves in strange waters. The horizon was hazy, the only visible landmark a tall rock sticking out of the water nearby. Atop it sat a woman with a nest of gray hair waving a 10-foot fishing pole through the muggy air. Welcome to the wandering sea, she said. You may think you are dreaming, but you are not the ones who sleep. The gods of these seas are trapped in a sleep as deep and binding as death. Their power over this world is dormant, changed by ungrateful mortals. But they have brought you here from a distant world to help them awaken. You must do this if you wish to return home. The gods? I asked. Well, who else? The woman cackled. You must seek their totems hidden amongst the archipelago. With enough totems you may wake the gods, and they may send you home, a reward for your service. Many have perished trying. You will also likely die, but good luck. I asked where she might find the nearest port, but the woman vanished. We turned north as night fell, 2 days from the journey in the alien world in which we now found ourselves. We did not notice the dark, narrow ship pursuing us until it was too late. Surprised and terrified, screams erupted from the crew as bull-headed men poured out onto the deck. The monster's eyes burned with a hellish flame, and their language was a guttural fit of barking and braying. There was little we could do. They took the ship, and we prayed for mercy with bound hands and bruised heads. Before we continue with our gameplay after reading the introduction and how we got here, what we're going to be doing next, I just want to let you know that a couple components won't be used at the beginning of the introduction. For example, our shipboard will not be used. As you're aware, we were captured, so that's not going to happen. We will, however, probably be using this deck of skills and abilities, and we're going to be using all of the characters, which I'm going to go over right now before we get started with our gameplay, so you can become invested in the characters that we'll be playing. And lastly, we have a number of other tokens and things, just massive amounts. We will be using several of them, such as the command tokens, damage tokens, status tokens, and others. And also, one of the more important ones, fatigue tokens. There's also phenomenal money in the game, and a bunch of other tokens that you won't see until we get to the point where we're using them in the gameplay. So let's start by reviewing our characters, and we'll begin with Captain Odessa. So here's the player card for Captain Odessa. You can see that she's got some beautiful artwork by Ryan. I really appreciate his artwork. She's got a number of abilities here to take her through the skills. Now, I haven't memorized what each of them are, but they are nicely produced and put on the back of the rule book. Let me go through those with you so you understand what each one is. See that the first skill is a pumped fist and bicep. That is the skill for strength. Then next up you have the eyeball. That is perception. And then the fox head is cunning. So they're all pretty self-explanatory. You kind of get where they're going. The anchor is savvy. It's how savvy are you? And another important one is going to be basically the tools right there, and that is craft. So those are the skills that we have. Now we also have some special abilities in there, and we won't deal with all of those now, but they cost command tokens to use them. You can see those there. And they can be used any time, but once you've spent them, you have to recover the command tokens to get them. Almost every character starts with this 5. No, a couple of them don't. But everybody has a health value. Of course, if you are knocked out of the game, you can't use the character. This is the strength value. So basically, when they're attacking an enemy, they do a certain amount of skill to hit it. That's the bonus. From the basic weapon that she has a rifle. That arrow there means that it's ranged. This is the damage done, and it also adds her perception skill to the damage. So 4 + 1 right now, for example. I think that's how it works. We'll see how it plays. I've read the rules, but we'll see how it plays out. And then this is basically her defense. So that's the kind of the layout of a character, and she's obviously the best character. If you're playing multiple players, everybody splits up the crew, but everybody always, as the active player, always has access to Captain Sophie Odessa. She's from New York. Anyway, let's take a look at her story, because there is a story to be had there. It says, Sophie's father captured a small cargo ship that ran from New York to Boston. She spent much... Oh, captained. I thought captured. That's funny. Sorry. I'm going to start over with that one. Sophie's father captained a small cargo ship that ran from New York to Boston. She spent much of her childhood watching the busy eastern coast and waving at passing fishing boats. At night, while her Tunisian mother brushed her hair, her Greek father told her the ancient legends from his home country. Nightmares of screaming sirens, envious gods, and sea monsters plagued her for years. At 17, her father chose her fiancé, and she ran away, joining the crew of a tramp steamer. After years of shrewd trading and risky investments, she amassed a small fortune and bought her own ship. Most of the old sailors left, unwilling to serve under a woman. Captain Odessa hired a new crew, and now she's free to sail where she wishes. But of course, not exactly, because we ended up in a foreign, crazy land. Okay. Next up, we're going to talk about Kasumi Oshima. She's from Osaka, Japan. You see she's got cunning, perception, and savvy. This ability, just to give you an idea, the ability says if I spend a command token, in this case, I can redraw a ability card. And ability cards give us a value that will enhance skills. Again, she has 5. She's got a wakizashi, so she has a weapon. It's +2 when she's attacking to hit it, and then she does 3 damage plus cunning, and she has 0 defense, so that's not great. Let's take a look at her story. Kasumi Oshima. Kasumi found her grandfather's samurai weapons and armor in the attic long after they were banned. After her relentless pestering, he trained her, discovering a rebellious flame hidden behind her serene eyes. The night her grandfather died, Kasumi lost the only person that knew her beyond the obedient facade she'd always worn at school and at home. She left quietly that same night, her grandfather's sword hidden in her pack. Catching a ship to New York, eager to prove herself in a dangerous world. So that's how Kasumi ends up on the ship, the Manticore. Don't think she was planning on this adventure, but it looks like she will get one. Then we have Rafael Vieira. He's from New York as well. He's got a few more hit points. He can spend command tokens to do extra damage. He can also spend command tokens to swap any positions. That will be important. You'll see how that works. He basically he's a mechanic. He's strong and he's got some craft abilities. He also does quite a bit of damage. Well, he hits well, does some damage, and has no defense. Okay. There are other special abilities that we'll get along the way as well. Rafael Vieira. Rafael's Portuguese parents immigrated to New York with empty pockets and broken shoes. Now they run a successful vineyard, but Rafael struggled to find a place in it with 6 older brothers. Rafael's father banished him after one too many rows with his oldest brother that left both with broken faces. An old coal train took Rafael to New York, where he worked on the docks in his early 20s. He hasn't spoken to anyone in his family for years except his mother, to whom he writes dutifully every Sunday. She even sends a reply once or twice a year. And that was the story of Rafael. I hope you enjoy. If you want to skip ahead of these, you can, but I hope you enjoy these little stories. I think it's important because we're playing a campaign story-based game, so we're going to continue to read them. This is Mac Mara Johnson. She's from the city of Atlanta, in Georgia, in the United States. Her special ability allows her to add 1 to a skill check. I believe that's what that is. But there's a atlas that tells you what everything is, so it's very easy to explain. Okay. Her accuracy bonus is +4. She does 2 damage, and then she gets to add savvy to it. She has a saber, doesn't have any defense, 5 health. Okay. Now, in the introductory scenario, we're going to have her card flipped over. She is not going to be available to us immediately. Mac joined her sister on an adventure to the Pacific Island in search of a promising new job. Mac's parents hated that her sister called her Mac. She was Mara to everyone else. But to Mac, it represented the close bond the two shared. Near the end of the journey, a furious storm destroyed their little passenger ship and left Mac clinging to a crate of whiskey. By morning, she found herself on a forested island alone. It wasn't long before she realized she wasn't in the Pacific. She lived for 15 years in the wandering sea and long given up searching for her sister. Now she wants to return to Atlanta. So she's in the wandering sea. Maybe that's why we don't get to start with her. She's already there. She's not part of our crew yet. Makes some sense. Okay, we have Gregory Little. He's from Los Angeles. He is strong and he's savvy. Again, these special abilities all have icons for them on the back. The back of the book, and it says basically he can remove 1 weakness or 1 venom at the cost of 2. So he's a doctor, and he can also remove. I think that's 1 damage, if I'm not mistaken. The little skull icon. I am looking for it here. I'm going to say I don't see it right off the bat, but I'm going to say that that's removing damage. Okay. The thumbs down is removing. Oh, he doesn't have that one. That was somebody else. I think the captain has that one. It's removing low morale. Okay. Yep. So he's a doctor basically. You can tell he's got a stethoscope around his neck and all that good stuff. He carries a knife. It's +2 accuracy. Doesn't do that much damage and uses cunning, which he doesn't have as a skill. So that's interesting. He's going to have to acquire some cunning if he's going to be good in a fight. Okay, Gregory Little. Gregory's smirk is like an old, comfortable jacket, and he rarely travels without it. He wears it to hide the deep pain inside. Gregory had quite a life in Los Angeles, treating broken bones and stitching cuts until his only daughter became ill. He fought night and day for her, but it wasn't enough. Shortly after her death, he ran to the harbor and climbed aboard the first ship he could see. He hasn't returned to California since. So that's our doctor, Gregory Little. One of the reasons I'm reading these stories is I'm wondering if they develop or come up later in the storyline. Because, I mean, it is a set crew. You can write stories about them when you're not creating random characters. Okay, next up, we have Canon Sharma. He's from Chennai. Okay, he's strong. He's got cunning. I hope I pronounced that right. You'll tell me if I didn't. And he has savvy. He can, I think that's that he can remove 1 frightened token, that's this ability, and he can also add 1 to his accuracy, which is this ability, by spending points. He does 3 damage, and he uses, again, a skill that he doesn't have, but he's got a pistol that he can defend himself a little bit with as well. Okay. Canon Sharma. Canon served in the Army of India. His brother convinced him it was a good way to earn money for his young family. Years later, after the horrors of the Great War, Canon only feels peaceful at sea. He watched each of his brothers die on the battlefield, and he can't stifle the guilt at being the only one to make it home again. He joined Captain Odessa a few years ago, hoping to hide it from the painful memories and the horrifying visions. All right, that is Canon. All right. So basically, I know you're going to remember the stories of all these characters, right? That's the way it goes. Okay, we have Marco Reyes. He's from Veracruz. He has the strength and cunning. He can pay for one food to do some special abilities there, get some health back to all stuff. He can also pay one food to remove fatigue and do some other things. We'll look at those abilities as we play. He's got an accuracy of 1. He has a frying pan as a weapon. It's really good. He can defend himself really well with it, and he looks like he's a priest, or a minister or something like that. Marco hopes God is with him, but he isn't certain anymore. He joined the church as a young man, eager to avoid his father's life of crushing farm labor. But soon after he joined, God spoke to him. His city was changing, and sin was taking the hearts of the people. The church was corrupt, keeping money from the poor to line the pockets of Marco's superiors. Marco started redistributing it to the poor where it belonged. When his bishop discovered what Marco was doing, he called the police. Marco fled to the docks and joined Captain Odessa's crew before they could find him. So he's got a history, and it's a pretty bad one if he ever wants to go back home. Then we have Audrey Williams. She's from Liverpool, so she's British. That's awesome. She has got craft and perception, so she's a repairer. She does work. She can repair and also give herself additional defense. She uses a wrench as a weapon. It's pretty hefty. That's nice, and she's got 5 health. Okay. Audrey Williams. Audrey wears oil stains and coal dust with pride. The sound of the thrumming engine puts her at ease. Her father taught her the trade. She couldn't stay home with her mother, who died in the influenza epidemic, so she spent her childhood running through the iron bellies of boiler rooms as her father turned up the triple expansion engines of the dock's steamships. She joined Captain Odessa's crew in her late teens, eager to see the world. She keeps a rabbit's foot in her pocket and visits graveyards at every port where Mother whispers to her sometimes. Okay, so she's a little odd. Mother's whispering to her, but she's a good repair person. We'll see how that goes. Last but not least, this is the last of the crew members. We have Laurent Lapointe. He's from Quebec City. He's a Canadian guy. He can scavenge for some food. He can also give himself 1 additional accuracy. He uses a club as a base weapon. Gives him a couple defense. He's got some good skills: strength, savvy, perception, and craft. That's pretty good. Let's see what his story is. Laurent grew up sailing on the frigid North Seas of Canada. Each wrinkle and gray hair a near-death experience on a whaling ship or fishing barge. Growing tired of the endless cold weather and a bitter cold marriage, he ventured to warmer waters in Chesapeake Bay with only his fishing gear and the clothes on his back. He'll sail with anyone as long as they let him fish. All right, that's pretty good. Okay, so now we know the story of the people that we're involved with. And again, Mac is not with our crew yet. And our crew was just captured. So we're going to go through the first part of the story in this episode, and then we'll continue on later as we get into the meat of the game. And this just basically sets us up and gives us some foundations for the rules, etc. Even though I've already read I've read the rules. I probably need to read them a time or two more. This is a blind playthrough because I'm playing it the way it's intended, which means you pick up this book that guides you through learning the game, and I want you to see that in action. So I have not played the game before. Okay, I've just read the rules, watched a few things to get familiar with it, and now we go. Okay, we're going to continue now with the story. You awaken on cold dirt. Most of your crew lies next to you, bound with the same crude rope that bites at your wrists and ankles. Your body aches and your clothes drip with dew, but there are no guards in sight, and there are sharp rocks nearby. Note, you may not use Mac in this challenge. We already know that. So we're going to be presented now with a challenge. And I'm going to put this down so you can see what that looks like. Okay, here's the story we just read. We're going to have 2 things that we can do. We can cut the rope bindings on the nearby rocks with a cunning of 5. We're going to fail. If we fail, we get a -3. The rock cuts the rope, but also our skin. Or we can wriggle free of the rope's bindings with a strength 5. So we have choices of strength or cunning in this case. And we're going to try and get out of those. Now, right below here it explains how you do the challenge. Make a choice. The active player must choose. Now, I'm the only player, so I will always be the active player. Normally, you pass this captain token around to determine the active player. By the way, the sun's about to hit, so I'm not going to be able to... I'm going to have to pause on this video for a bit soon. That's okay, because the sun is about to come blaring into my windows. Okay, the choice contains a challenge. Oh, so let me finish reading the top part. The active player must choose cut the rope bindings with a total cunning of 5, or wriggle free with a total strength of 5. You may fully read the details about each choice before choosing, but you make only one choice. This time, cut the rope bindings. Use crew members. The choice contains a challenge which you must complete before continuing the story. The challenge requires 5 cunning. The active player may only use skills on their own crew board and Captain Odessa's crew board. Now, I'm playing everybody, so I get to use anybody that I want in this. That's the advantage of being solo. The disadvantage is you don't get the brain power and you don't get the multiple turns, I guess. This time, place 1 fatigue token on Captain Odessa and 1 fatigue token on any one of the active player's crew boards that also has a cunning symbol. And the total number of cunning symbols on a participating crew. You now have 2 cunning. So let's take a look at that. I think they show an example of it right here on the next page. Again, I could go against this. I have a choice. I can do cunning or strength. Either way, we're going to be putting fatigue tokens on characters to do that. Now, if I go with cunning, I think we'll follow the instructions here as they show it, just to show how this works. So we're going to try and cut the rope bindings with the rocks using our cunning. And now what we're going to do there is we have Captain Odessa right here, and we're going to put a fatigue token on her card. Now what happens is if I get another fatigue token, we're going to flip this one over and she's going to get some hindrances. Okay, like I said, if she were to get a second token, it would flip over and it would give her some penalties. But we're not there right now. We're just right here where she's going to have 1 token. And we're going to put her up aside because she has now given us 1 of the cunning symbols that we need. And we're going to use him. He also has cunning. This is what it recommends in the book. So he too will get a fatigue token. And we cannot, well, we can use them again, but then when they get 2 fatigue tokens, they're going to be fatigued and have problems. So let's continue on with how this instructs us to resolve this ability. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, now that we've got 2 symbols, remember we need to make a score of 5, we're going to draw a fate card. Now, I'll tell you one thing, I looked in there, I think you're supposed to shuffle this, and I did, so I hope that was the right thing to do. We're about to find out. So wow, I got a 4, so we definitely succeeded, because we take that number and we add it to our total, so we have a 6, which means we don't have to do anything else. At that point, we've succeeded in the challenge. That is outstanding. So what does it say? It says, add the fate number on the ability card to the total cunning from your participating crew member. If the result is 5 or higher, you succeed and turn to A1. Well, that's what we're going to do. We're about to go to A1. If it is below 5, you fail. This time, let's say you draw a fate of 2 because your cunning plus your fate of 4, you fail. Failing challenge. So I guess it wants us to fail. I don't know. I succeeded. I'm going to take that because I don't want to take the damage if I don't have to, right? Let's go on with that. Okay. That says, anyway, failing a challenge does not necessarily mean that the story ends. It just means you did a dismal job and must now take consequences. The challenge has a failure consequence of -3 health. The explanation being that you cut yourself on the rocks you used to cut your bindings. Place 3 damage tokens on your crew boards. Crew who participated in this challenge must take the damage first. The active player decides how to split that damage. So I think for the sake of the game, we will follow along. And it says we take damage, so it shows us putting 2 damage on the captain, which we'll do right now. And that basically just means we're taking 2 damage and putting it on our board. Now, we succeeded, but we're going to play along, right? We'll just play along with it and see how this goes. So we can do the game. And then the Marco, the priest, gets another damage. Okay. Now we're going on to the story element L1, or A1 rather. Now free, you peer outside of the wooden hut. Dark pines tower overhead. Near the edge of the brush sits a rough cage made of wooden slats. The door is fastened shut with a mechanism attached to a nearby tree. Inside, a woman lies on her back, her eyes closed. We should get out of here, says Kasumi. We don't have time, says Rafael. Can I have a say? The woman in the cage opens her eyes and sits up. Name's Mac. I'd greatly appreciate some help. You crack open the crude lock with a rock. As soon as you break her out, you hear a sudden snarl behind you. 2 bull-headed monsters emerge from the woods and charge. So this is how we get Mac into our team, I imagine. So we're going to combat monsters 1 and 2. Let's take a look at that. That's a whole new venture for us. Let's do it. Okay, here is monster 1 and 2. This is number 1, number 2. Now we're going to put them together, and you see that it creates this grid here, right? Now, to hit the creatures, we have to overcome the target number with accuracy. To do damage, this is the damage that they do. We don't worry about that right now. To do damage, we're going to take the damage, we're going to spread it out across these areas to defeat them. Now you notice there's a lot of blanks there too, but there's a reason it's important, because we have to place them next to each other in a pattern, right? So if I go here, here, and here, I've got him, I still have to put one there, but if I do multiple damage and I put one there, I can't go back out and spread them elsewhere. So it might be good to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for example, right? If we have 3, or if we have 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's ways to do it, but you get the idea. So we're going to go into combat with these guys. It says, now you may turn Mac's crew board face up. So now we have Mac on our team, and she is a scrapper apparently with her saber. There she is. And she is back on the team, ready to go. And then it says, the word combat, followed by a list of numbers, indicates that you must defeat enemies before continuing the story. It's time to fight. Turn to page 6. So again, this is the introductory scenario, and I'm showing you how it all plays out for us. Retrieve enemy cards 1 and 2 from the enemy deck. Place them side by side as shown on the right. Oh, actually, we're going to place them a little differently. It's going to be like this. Okay, that's good that they note that for us. All right. So place them side by side. Split the combat action tokens between the players. So there are 4 of those, and we have them here. Let me just show you what they look like. They look like this. I'm just going to put them right here for now. And as we place things on people, we'll deal with it. Okay. One player starts with 2 combat action tokens. Place each crew member's synergy token on their crew board. Synergy tokens look like this. So we're going to place their synergy tokens. That is going to be the Audrey. Here is the synergy token for the captain. And now I see that the sun's starting to get in the way here. Here's the synergy token for Rafael, the one for our good priest Marco, the one for our Canadian Laurent. Here is the one for Mac, who just joined us. That's her token right there. And here's one for Kasumi, and here's one for Canon, and here's one for our doctor. All right, so everybody's got their synergy tokens now. Okay. We got that. Now we'll walk through combat. So players attack. You may attack in any order. A player attacks by placing a combat action token on one of the crew boards and attacking with that crew member. In this scenario, all instructions for any crew member are executed by the player with the crew board. Place a combat action token on Kasumi's crew board. So let's take a look at that. Here is Kasumi. We're going to place a combat action token on her board as instructed. Okay. She has one weapon, the Wakizashi, which has a +2 accuracy. Okay. You may only use one weapon per attack, and you must declare which enemy you are attacking. This time choose the Mythan Guard. So there's a Mythan Guard and a Mythan Brute. We'll go back and look at that. And that is right here. So let's do this. We're going to move this over a little bit, and we're just going to bring Kasumi into the picture for the moment so you can see how this works. Now again, this is on rails to teach us how to play, so we have to remember that. Okay. The Mythan Guard has an enemy defense number of 5. Draw an ability card from the ability card deck and add the fate number on the card to Kasumi's accuracy. If the result is equal to or greater than the Mythan Guard's enemy defense number, Kasumi hits. This time, let's say she drew a fate of 3. Kasumi has an accuracy of 2 for a result of 5. She hits with the Wakizashi. Okay. So we're playing out this in a more formulaic fashion. So we're going to assume that the card that she drew, like the one I showed you earlier, and I'll continue to use an example, had a 3 in it, which means she just hit the guard who has a defense of 5. And then we're going to place damage. Kasumi's Wakizashi deals 3 damage. You must place all damage from a single attack adjacently, as if it were one blow. You may place it in any direction from any starting square, but not diagonally. The majority of this damage, or at least half, must hit the enemy targets in the attack. So we targeted the enemy. Because one of the cool things you can do as you're doing damage is spill the damage over like you're doing a sweeping attack or something like that. It's pretty clever. I like that. I like it a lot. Pretty neat. Okay. But you may also place damage on the adjacent enemies, like I just showed you. This is called splash damage. We will show you how it's done. Placing damage on enemy card symbols. So it shows us an illustration right here of the right here of how we're going to place damage. Let's see. Placing damage on enemy card symbols. You must cover each health or heart symbol on an enemy card to defeat it. Place 1 damage token on the Mythian guard's head. Okay, so that means we're going to take the token here, one of the 3 hits that she has, and we're going to place it on the Mythian guard's head, right there. Okay. All right. This decreases his health by 1. As you can see, it took one of the hearts off, so he is damaged. He is not as healthy. Okay. Each square with an attack damage symbol represents damage the Mythian guard will deal to your crew when he attacks. Place 1 damage token on the Mythian guard's arm. This decreases his health by 1 more and disables one of his attack tokens. That's right here. So we have gone down there and we've hit him in the arm pretty hard. That's pretty good. So now he's going to attack us for less damage. Now deal splash damage to the Mythian brute. This is a great way to hit enemies with a high enemy defense number. Because, see, his defense number 6, we would have missed him, but because we're doing splash damage, we get to carry some of that damage over to him. Place 1 damage token on the Mythian brute's arm, which is right next to this one right here. Let's see, where is that? Yeah. Okay. We did that. So I see I lost my place there. Okay. High enemy defense. Place 1 damage token on the Mythian brute's arm. This disables 1 attack damage. This square also contains a synergy point. Whenever a crew member covers a synergy point, that's that little triangle right there, or diamond rather. Sorry, I do know the difference. And you can tell that on their synergy tokens by the little diamond that's right there. Synergy token with another crew member. Whenever a crew member covers a synergy point, they may share their synergy token with another crew member, giving them a bonus to use in this combat. Share Kasumi's synergy token with Mac by placing it on her board. So we're going to take her token here, and that is going to go on Matt's board, or Mac's board. We will look at that in a moment. Okay, we're going to continue on though, because now that she's done her damage, the Mythian guard is going to now counterattack. Only the target enemy counterattacks, so we attack the guard, so that's the only one that's going to counterattack. Not enemies who take splash damage. Enemies deal damage equal to their basic attack symbol, so this is 3, plus the symbols that are on their board right below, right? So all attack damage symbols on the Mythian guard are covered, so he deals 3 damage to Kasumi. Kasumi has a 0 block, so she takes all 3 damage. We got to place these on her crew board, right? So she's going to take 3 points of damage. I think you're getting how this works. It's pretty clever. Okay. Place 1 damage on the Mythian brute's head. Wait, we're not there yet. Hold on. Yeah, place a combat. Okay, now that that's done, so we've completed her section right there. Combat continues until all combat actions are used or all enemies are defeated. Now we only have 4 tokens for combat actions, so that's going to be interesting. Because all the tokens in the game are finite, except for the money, I guess, because we have more money than I know what to do with. But they are finite. Okay, so we're going to place our next combat action token on Max. So I'm going to bring her board over here to take a look and see what we're going to do with her. Okay, so if we place the token on her board, that's cool. We've done that. And let's see, it says place token on Mac. Okay, and target the Mythian brute. Okay, draw an ability card. Let's say it has a fate of 3. Add Max +4 accuracy, so +4. So we're assuming it had the card we drew was a 3. For a total of 7. Mac hits with her saber and deals 2 damage. Then use Kasumi's synergy token right here to give her an additional damage. Add 1 more damage for a total of 3. Place the synergy token back on Kasumi's board. So you see how that works. We get to help each other out when we get these synergies. It's pretty neat mechanic. I like it a lot. Okay. Place 1 damage on the brute's head. So we're going to place 3 more damage. We're going to start on the brute's head. Right? Boosh, right there. Okay. Now it's seriously damaged. And then we're going to top, middle, and then 1 in the middle right here to the body. And I assume we're going to do the one to the leg because then it'll kill him, right? And let me just double check that, make sure. And one on the leg, yes, okay. Now, if you look at the head, it contains a synergy token. So now she gets to place a synergy token with somebody else, right? So, so pass Mac's synergy token to Captain Odessa. So we will do that. So we pass her synergy token to Captain Odessa. The Mythic Brute is defeated immediately and does not counterattack. So this guy is no bueno. He is gone. I think we remove it. I don't know. Well, let's see. Does it say that? Yep. I guess we take this guy off. He is defeated. So he goes back onto the... he's going to go back into the deck. Okay. Not a problem. All right, now it says, and then one, okay, we got that. So pass in, we got that. Place a combat action token on Captain Odessa. So we're going to place Mac back, and we're going to bring the fatigued Captain Odessa, she's not quite fatigued yet, into the fray, where we place one of our 4 combat tokens on the captain. Draw an ability card. Let's say that it has a fate of 1, even with Mac's synergy token, which is going to give her a +2. Odessa misses the Myth and Guard. This means that he attacks first. He deals 3 damage, but Odessa has 1 block, so place 2 damage tokens on her crew board. Okay. Well, she's getting pretty damaged. She only has 5. She got 2 damage there. That's pretty rough, right? Okay. Because she... Okay. Mythic Guards... place the damage token on the... Okay, right. So she did 1 block, so place 2 damage tokens on her crew board. Because she missed... She only deals 1 damage. Place the damage token on the Myth and Guard's mouth. Okay, so she swings and gets a damage on the Myth and Guard, puts it on his mouth. Following along, and pass Captain Odessa's synergy token to another player. Use the last combat action to attack with any crew member at this point. Even if that crew member misses, the Myth and Guard is defeated. If the crew member misses, remember that the Myth and Guard attacks first. And then we're going to go on to see what happens after that. So now we get to do, now the rails are off, we get to play it on our own. Okay, so we're going to take the captain's token, which has a special ability on it, and we're going to put Captain Odessa back up here. And I think, who's another decent fighter? Let me see, looking for someone with more than a plus, we should take Rafael Vieira. He's a pretty decent fighter. I think that's what we're going to do. So we're going to bring Rafael Vieira into the fight. We're going to give him her token. Now let's see what her token does, because it didn't get explained to me in the description, right? So that ability is going to be something I don't see. Okay, synergy token. It's got a quadrant of a monster quadrant on it. So let's see if those are easily found in the book, right? And we'll see about her ability. See, I don't see that handy, but I'm sure... Wait, here we go. It, like all his manuals, is quite well done. So it's right there. So what does Captain Odessa do? When activated, the crew member may place damage diagonally. Okay, so he can use that to place damage diagonally. We're not going. It's going to be fine. We just hope that he wins in the fight. So right now, he's got a +3. He needs to get a 5. So let's see what he gets. He gets a 2, so he hit, and we killed the Myth and Guard. Okay. And the Myth and Guard did not get to hit back because we successfully attacked the guard. And that is going to end the combat. And that is going to continue on with our story. So we're going to continue on with this story. We didn't have to use her token, so I'm going to put him back. The fight is actually complete, so I guess I'll send the token back, the synergy token back to the captain. He won't need it. Okay. Victory, you have defeated the Mythans. Now continue your story. Turn to A2. All right, here we go. You head down the path to the beach, and the crew mutters relieved oaths at the sight of your ship, the Manticore anchored nearby. When you climb aboard, you find Gloria, the ship's purser, tied up on the quarterdeck. Gloria? I don't see a Gloria here. What a lovely trip this has been, she says with a smirk. Mac thanks you for saving her and explains that the gods brought her here as well. I'm from the States, Atlanta, originally, but I've been lost for 15 years, she says. I tried to get home, gave up for a while, then tried again. I'm willing to join you, but I lost all the totems that I found, so we're starting from scratch. I can give you some ideas about where to start looking. You nod, meaning Captain Odessa nods. Oh, let's get going. Place the ship miniature on the atlas. Okay, well, let's look at that. Okay, it says place the ship miniature on the atlas on the C region containing location 2. So we have done that. This is the miniature. I have 2 miniatures for the ship. This is the plastic one, and I'm using this because it's painted, and I like that. So there is another one that's metal. I have it around here someplace. I thought I'd show it to you, but it is a metal one, and it's really nice looking, but the other one's painted, so I'm going to use that one. All right, then it says place the shipboard and the ship action figure above the atlas. Well, we've done that already, so we're good there. I'll show you what that looks like. This is the shipboard, and this is the ship action figure that will move around that board as we take actions. Okay, restore all crew health. Okay, so they've had a chance to heal completely up, so the captain and all the other people who've taken damage are no longer going to be damaged. That is fantastic. And also it says to remove their fatigue, so I will remove the fatigue from the 2 characters that had it. We are back to square one, and of course all the combat tokens are going to come off the characters as well. So we'll remove those. And then it says gain 3 coins. Okay, so we'll say 1, 2, and 3. There are the 3 coins that we gain, and they're really nice heavy metal coins. Those are going to go here on the board. Just put them right there. Okay, 1 grain and 1 starting adventure card. Okay, we'll show you what that means right now and get on with that. So we are going to start. Let me find the grain. Here is 1 grain. Now there are tokens for that as well. You can see that there are some grain tokens, but we're going to use the plastic bits instead. So we have 1 grain on our ship, and I think it said something else, right? 3 coins, 1 grain, and a starting adventure card. Let me get the adventure card out. Okay, here are the 4 starting adventure cards. We have Gear, which allows us to redraw one of the ability cards. We have Gloria Walker, which has a token on her and draw. We get to draw 2 ability cards. She's a starting item. We have Flapjacks, which if we can put 3 grain into something, we can remove 3 fatigue tokens and recover 3 health. I think that's what that means, but we'll look at it. And then we have Soup, which means if we put a grain, whatever the other thing is, I'll look it up, and meat into it, we get to recover 3 fatigue and reduce a, I think it's a status. I don't remember what. Again, I'll learn all the statuses as I go. Morale, low morale with Soup. So these 4 cards are going to go right here with our ship, and they're available to us to use at need. Okay. And it says to keep the captain central because she can be used by any player. Now again, there's only 1 player, so that's not going to be helpful. The last thing that we're going to do is we're going to get our 2 quest cards. And here is the box where those are stored. It's a magnetically sealed box that you pop open. It's really nice. And these are the quest cards right here. We're going to take number 1, which is called Raid, and number 2, which is called Cottage. And we're going to take a look at those. This goes aside. You don't get into that unless you are told to, instructed to. So the first one we're going to get is Raid. It says, Raid on Last Hope. Mac told us a rumor about a creature attacking a fishing village northeast of Zakura trading post. Well, that's pretty close to us, actually. I'll show you on the map. The village may not survive the attacks much longer and needs urgent help. Okay, and then Cottage. Mac is on her way to search the cottage of an old treasure hunter named Anne. Perhaps something there will help us get home. The cottage is near a bridge north of Zakura Trading Post. Okay, well, it looks like Zakura Trading Post is going to be pretty important to us. Let's take a look at the map. Okay, here's the trading post. So I'm looking at, there's the cottage right there, looks like. And I think we need to go up this way. There's also a village somewhere. I don't see it. Maybe it is the village here. I don't know. We'll see, because there's something to see there when we head that way. So that looks like that might be a good starting direction for us to come up and around here. It's kind of telling us that that's what it wants us to do in the game, right? But let's finish. We got more to do here. We're not quite done. Okay, so we got all that stuff. We gain quest 1 and 2, which I just read to you. It says rewards and story consequences. At the end of a story, and at certain points along the way, you receive rewards and consequences. These are listed in italics and include resources, coins, status effects, damage, fatigue, adventure cards, quests, and more. Follow all instructions before moving on. Return to the ship means the exploration is over. Pass the captain token to the next player in clockwise order. So again, even though we're playing solo, it's very, very easy to get that done. The ship board. Okay, now we're going to go to the ship board. Place the Man of Course ship miniature on the atlas in the ocean spot location 2. Yep. Place the shipboard above the atlas, which we have done. Place the correct side face up. Oh yeah, I do need to look at that. Actually, it is not on the correct side, so we have to move this over. Just realized it is on the 3 to 4 player side. We want it on the 1 to 2 player side, and we are 1 player. Now what that means is when we gain stuff, we are going to, when we're taking actions, you see how it's split there where it says 2, 3? It's based on the number of players. So there's some variance based on the number of players on that board. Okay, so we've done that. Okay, and place the ship action figure. That's already up there. That's the brown, that brown reddish miniature there that we have, the wooden one. Okay. Then remove all damage and fatigue tokens from your crew. Place 3 coins and 1 grain on the ship. Then place all resource tokens and coins and power. We've done all that. Keeping the adventure card deck in order. Find the starting adventure cards. We did that. All that's done. Found quest 2. We're good. Okay. Event card setup. Now we have to set up the event card deck. It says separate the event cards by type: mild, perilous, and deadly. Shuffle each separately. Draw 6 deadly cards. Place them face down in a new deck. Draw 6 perilous cards. Place them face down on top of the deadly. And let's get these cards out and do that. Okay, so here's our deck: mild, perilous, and deadly. We're going to shuffle these up and take 6 from here. Actually, we're going to do it backwards. We want to do the deadly first, because we're going to then place them up on the board. Make a stack of them. So let's shuffle these up really good, because I want to make sure we get a great random experience in this. That's the point of it. And it adds that variety to the game. So even if you're replaying the campaign, it's not going to roll out the same way every time, right? So we're going to take 1, 2, and then I'll shuffle it again, just as 3, 4, 5, and 6. The rest of these will go back. We'll put them someplace safe for the moment. And this is going to go up on the shipboard. And I'm showing you it this way because this way you don't have to go and look at another setup video to see how this flows out. Okay, that way you can just roll with it, because there's plenty of setup videos out there. There's even some playthrough videos. We're going to play quite a bit, so remember that this is going to be full of spoilers as we go through this. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. That one is going in 5 and 6. So we'll put these up and put these on top of the deadly cards. These ones are perilous, so we'll just shuffle those up a little bit more. Put those on top of there, and then last but not least, we have the mild ones. We're going to take 6 of those and put them on top. And it does matter when the deck runs out, and I'll show you that in just a moment as well. So let's we've shuffled those up quite a bit. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. There's the mild ones, and these are going to go on top of the ones we just did there. So you can see that. Shuffle those up real quick. And there is our event deck. Now, if you look under the event deck, it says the first time we complete the event deck, we read story 1. The second time, we read story 1.2. And the third time, we read F1. I think that's a bad thing. I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. Because I think that we're going to go through that deck fairly quickly. Because after every turn, we're going to draw an event card. And it shows what basically the actions flow like this. It's pretty clever. We're going to take a ship action, then we're going to draw an event card, and then we're going to take our character actions, which will do things on the board. We'll explore things. It's pretty good. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to shuffle up the market deck. This is the market deck. We're just going to shuffle it like crazy. I will do that off camera, and then we've got one more thing to do. I've already done the one more thing, so I got 2 more things to do. I will show you what that looks like. So let me get these shuffled. Okay, there is the market deck all shuffled up. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to shuffle these tokens, but I've already done it. And so we'll just do a little more just for the sake of doing it. We'll shuffle them up just a little bit to show that they're randomized. And those go off to the side. Now we have one more thing we're going to do. We're going to retrieve the a journey log. So what is a journey log? Well, let me show you that. We've got to get them out. There we go. Here is a journey log. Okay, we're going to do some things on that. So it says retrieve a journey log sheet from your campaign. Choose to play in normal or brutal mode. We're going to play in normal mode. This is my first game. So let me get a pen. You can see that is right here. So we're going to play on normal mode. So I've X'd the normal mode box out. I think that's the only thing we have to do there. This allows you to restart more quickly, simply losing time if defeated in the middle of a campaign. Brutal mode gives more points at the campaign end, but when you are defeated, you lose the campaign and must start anew. Okay, we don't want to do that. write the date at the top of the sheet. Okay, I think it's 2/6, I think. So 2/6/2021. Nice. Okay, you can see I have lovely, terrible handwriting. Top sheet, and write in all players' names at the bottom of the sheet. Well, that's just me, so we're going to write Doug, and that is our sheet right there. Okay. Then give each player, not each crew member, 1 command token and 1 ability card. Okay, let's take a look at that. So here is the command token. We're going to get one of those. I will just put it on the ship board for right now for us to keep track of. And then we're going to get an ability card as well for our hand. We can have up to 3 ability cards in our hand. So what do we get? Now this doesn't matter in this case. What matters is this and this. So if we place this as an ability, we're going to give them another symbol, another character symbol. We can play it. And then it says discipline, discard this card to equip it to do this too. If this is equipped, I can discard it to do that ability, which is lower morale. So we'll just leave our hand face up. We're not going to be playing with other people or anything. So I will put our hand, let's see, I will keep our hand on the captain's card. That way we can keep track of the cards that we have. So I believe we are done. You've completed the introduction scenario. You may now start your campaign. If you have not read the rulebook, continue to the walkthrough in this quick start guide. We have done all that. So I have read the rulebook, but there is a continued walkthrough about how we do this in the turn overview. We don't have to read that because we're going to play, but not in this episode. So guys, this is going to be a really long episode actually. I noticed my camera power is going down quite a bit. So we're going to stop right there. I want to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this playthrough. I know that this introduction was on rails to get us to the point where we're now playing our campaign. But now that we are going to be exploring this wonderful world that Ryan Lockett and I believe his wife and somebody else have helped create. It's a pretty good experience. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm super, super excited about it. So I can't wait to explore this with you. We'll see you in the next episode. Take care, and have a wonderful, wonderful evening, weekend, wherever you're at today, doing whatever you need to do. Thanks. Oh, also, please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps the channel to see if there's enough interest in what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And it also, when I do drawings and that, which I've been trying to work through some giveaways. I had some promised giveaways that I still need to complete. I got through the first 3. I haven't done the rest because we've had some problems being able to go to the post office. I have some people in my life that are very susceptible, and I don't want them to get COVID, so I'm keeping it really low risk, right? So that said, once we're back to normal, I'll be able to go do that. But in the meantime, I was giving away, instead of giving away the actual games, I gave away $1 equivalent. I'll probably do the same with the next part of the giveaway I wanted to finish. It's cash equivalent. So anyway, thanks guys. I'll talk to you in the next episode. Take care.